Welcome to another episode of the Create Your Vibrant Life podcast. Today, I have an amazing guest, Charulatha Sridhar. And Charu is so dear to me. I've known Charu for a long time now. And now I have the privilege of working with her. And I cannot wait to share, Charu, your journey, and also like you're so multi-talented. Your art is just exquisite. If you if you go to my Instagram or you go to my YouTube, you can see Charu's beautiful painting in the background. So I would highly recommend you see that too. It's beautiful. It's just amazing. So Charu, let's start by you introducing yourself. Tell us anything you want to share with the world about the beauty you bring in.
Yes, thank you so much, Padma. Thank you. I'm so grateful and blessed to be here with you, to be working with you. It's indeed a blessing. And I also want to share how I found you and how I started working with you. I'll come to that. But before that, a little bit about me. I'm from Chennai, India, and I've been in Chennai for a very, very long time. All my schooling, all that I have done in Chennai. And I was in the US for a brief while. I have always been interested in drawing. So I used to be this person in school who used to draw others' lab books. So I used to draw these leaves and all that. And I used to come so well. And everybody used to give me their lab books and I used to draw it for them. So I really used to love drawing right from school, but didn't pursue considering the at the time that we were in India, the focus was largely on employable education. So my focus, and I was interested, I love maths. I really, really love maths. I really excelled in my academics. I did my maths honors, my maths major. And I really excelled there as well. And I had to take on work after that. I was working and studying. I did my master's in computer application. Again, this yearning for art was still there, but I never explored it so much. I got married right after my master's. I was in the US, and that's when I was looking for work, which nothing worked out. And I said, okay, let me at least explore art. And I started drawing a lot. But again, nothing panned out. I came back to India. That's when it started. That's where I would say a real journey, a committed journey started for me. I started working with an art teacher. I did some watercolors, and he said, I have to do this exhibition. So my first exhibition, I worked almost a year, created some 40 pieces of artwork of watercolors. Extremely gratifying experience because I could see right from the first work to the last work, there was tremendous progress that I saw myself, growing that way. And the whole experience of calling people, seeing my work, a few famous artists also came in and they really liked what I was creating. After that, again, I was like, okay, I have to go back to work because my corporate experience was something that was pulling me back in. So that's when I again went back to work. What was very interesting was when I joined work, it was nowhere related to maths or to computers. It was all psychology. So I have done almost like now maths, computers, art, and then psychology. I work in a very interesting boutique firm, which specializes in bringing psychology to business. I love the way we work because we're very intentional about the kind of work we have to do. A small company, but and there is a lot of freedom to do what I want to do. And all of us have that. We all pursue different passion and interests. I think that's what makes us very unique and very interesting. We are not the kind to, run after, growth, success in a term of a financial term. But while that keeps happening, we all love having our passion. And I said, okay, now I have to get back to art. As I was saying,
that's the whole thing. I've always seen you march to your own beat. It takes a lot of courage to say, okay, I'm going to pursue art, or I'm going to even though this is what I studied, this is what I want to do, because people, again, like you're very good with people. Like you literally bring so many different talents in, but art is where you shine so much.
Yes. I love. I just pursued it with so much determination. Initially, it was all about building my skill. And I attended a lot of courses abroad as well as in India, just to get a flavor of what creates that joy for me. What is it that about art that I want to put in the canvas, and how do I want to represent the way I create? That was the journey. Initially, it was all about exploration, building my skill. I think I found my way probably a couple of years back when I attended this personal transformation program. I realized that it's about my soul and putting my unique expression on the canvas. That was the discovery, and that just didn't feel like a lot of pressure. Initially, about when I started learning, it was okay, I have to paint every day. I have to do this every day. I wanted to have deadline. Now it is all flow. While I paint as often as I can, but it's not about I have to finish this today. I have to do 5 paintings a week. It doesn't work that way. It's about how I have to create with the flow, put my soul and heart into it, and create a very unique expression of what I want to create. So that's the journey I've discovered in the last year and a half now. And when I create, it just feels so much joy. And the fact that the collectors also feel the same way and how they are perceiving my art is a complete validation of the impact that my art can create. I'm just amazed by this whole journey that I've had. I've always thought, okay, if I say this is what I want to do, I pursue that with a lot of determination. But now I feel there's a lot of heart and soul into what I'm creating. I think that's what I've discovered.
Well, sorry to interrupt you. Like, what is really striking to me is like this flow that you talk about. That's you being in the present moment, and that's where the creation happens. And if most people lived in just in the present moment, so much creativity is going to flow. Now, the other piece to your art, which I want to really highlight, is how it's I know you paint a lot of different things, but what has really come to where your soul really expresses is spirit animals. Can we talk a little bit about that? Like, what are spirit animals? And then I want to share my own story about having my spirit animal at home from your art. But can you share a little bit about what are spirit animals and why do people need to have their spirit animal in their home?
Yes. So spirit animals are animals which you feel so connected to. It's very simply saying that I feel very connected to this spirit animal, and they actually guide you and support you in a very non-tangible way. They're just there for you, and they have medicine. The medicine is it's in a very again very non-tangible way to say that okay, this is what you need to do. For example, a peacock is all heart. How do you keep your heart in the trust, and how you trust yourself? And then there is owl, which is all about wisdom and how you
let me take
your
it a step back, because many people who are listening to the podcast know about the guidance from nature and animals, but I wanted to highlight a little bit even more, like how, because most people are so tuned out, they're not even aware, because we don't pay attention to nature, and that's what you're saying. So can you take us a little bit deeper into like, how does even, like, where do you even start to connect the dots about these are my spirit animals? And how do you even find that?
Okay, so I would say simply about what animal or what bird feels really connected to you. One of my collectors came and said that for me, it's always about seagull. It talks about flight. It talks about freedom. And that's what connects. I feel really connected to that. And the medicine for her is seagull. And one other collector talks about eagle, how it stands in its own power, and how it talks about trusting. So it's about that. It's about what feels that whole strong connection. And sometimes it's about having that journey of discovering. Sometimes it could be a crow, it could be an owl, but sometimes you go back to the animal first you connected with and say, okay, eagle has always been there for me. So that's my connection. So again, it doesn't mean that, you have only one spirit animal that guides you. It could be several others, but sometimes it's one animal which consistently is giving you that message to say, okay, you have to stand in your power, or you have to trust yourself. That could be the way one could discover the animal medicine for themselves. Having said that, I think, and that's what was my discovery as well. I was not even aware that animal medicine existed a couple of years back. I think this whole transformation path has taken me to appreciate even the smallest of things. When I'm standing outside, I'm looking at the sun and I'm appreciating the sun. I'm appreciating the moon. It gives so much beauty. And the way I look at nature is so different. And I didn't even think pigeon was something that was ignored way back. I didn't even, pay attention. Now I'm looking at the colors and I'm feeling the feathers. It feels so, there's so much connection I feel to everything that nature. And now with the animals, they have something very special. I'm going down the road and I'm seeing the dog and I'm looking at the dog like, so what is the dog trying to tell me? And I see a lot of cows there, and I'm thinking, what are they doing? What are they thinking? I feel so connected. And that's where one feels that connection and say, okay, this is my spirit animal, and this is going to give me that guidance to live to that high frequency and vibration. And that's how the connection happens. Yes.
So why is that important? Can you share a little bit? And I want to share my story too, because I think that will highlight that. But I really want anyone listening to see how nature is always talking to us, how we're always receiving messages for our next evolutionary step, but we ignore it because we're so caught up in life and distraction. So can you share with us, why is this connection to spirit animals so important?
Again, it's all about the messages. See, initially, again, I'm going with my own journey of why initially I didn't even think would even pay attention to a pigeon, which is just sitting right outside my house, or even a crow. And now I'm noticing so many different birds that come to my house. And I'm going up and I'm seeing a series of parrots. Parrots just keep flying across my terrace. And then I'm thinking, okay, parrot is all about self-talk. What am I talking to myself? And I go discover that this is what it means. And again, if I see, again, it's a choice that we can make of why is it important, but we slowly apply the subtleties of what these animals bring as a message. It's so powerful. As subtle as it is, it's extremely powerful, and it can become very important guidance for us to live in our highest possible way, to be present, to be really aware, and really connect. That connection, unless one experiences it, it's sometimes, you don't believe it, but once one experiences it, you can never go back. You can never really go back to say, okay, was I even that? You always feel the connection. And in fact, what I did was I also went through an animal communication program, which was so good. And that's when it felt like I've communicated with a few animals, and I saw that I was on the dot. Then I realized it's possible for everyone. It's possible for everyone to connect with animals. And when we do that, it is so powerful. They're talking to us all the time. Nature is talking to us all the time. Animals are talking to us all the time. And if I can create that in a painting, and the painting also talks to us, definitely talks to us. And having that energy at home, it's priceless. It's completely, the value is just not something we can put a margin to. It's completely priceless. And I am personally also collect paintings, and I know my collectors also say that how they really find that they can't put a value to it. Yes.
Yeah, and you cannot, because it's how you feel. When I look at the paintings that you created, it brings a certain level of feeling for me. And that feeling, when I vibrate at that feeling of joy or happiness, or just that sense of like just peace, then I'm attracting more life experiences to me that then help me grow, in not only on a spiritual level, but on a 3D level too, like the amount of abundance that comes in because of that. I know it's like hard for people to connect the tangible with the intangible, but there is a lot of tangible things when you pay attention.
Absolutely.
not
And
correct, right?
yeah, so I just want to add something here because a few years back, during the beginning of my art journey, I visited the museums in Paris. One was Louvre, and the other was the one close by, which had all the impressionistic work. And I said, okay, I have to build a tent here and live here because the beauty was so much, so much. It just gave me so much happiness to just see what people can create. And every work is so different. And I would just wanted to stand there and just absorb that beauty. And I realized why people create paintings. Every artwork had something to say to me, and something. It's just not something I can say, okay, this is what it said to me. No, there is beauty there. And that's why galleries exist. That's why museums exist. Because one sees and feels completely in awe, completely in joy. And that feeling is what we all want to live in. So the painting, when I saw that, I realized, okay, I have to create paintings like these. So that's where also one of the biggest motivation for me as well.
Oh my God, it's amazing, amazing. And also what it does is, like, we started with the present moment, right? Like, that's what it makes you do. It makes you slow down in a world that we live in, which is constantly, like, literally 10 seconds long, like between 10-second videos. And like, it's just this bombardment of go, 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 go. It really makes you pause. And when I walk into a room and I can feel the energy of the room with the painting, something slows down within me.
Absolutely.
And I really want people to hear that, because it's not just about how you feel, but what it can do for your life.
Correct.
Right? It doesn't end in that moment, but it brings more creativity. And imagine, like, if we get more creative, what more is possible for your life?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And do your collectors talk about that, Charu?
Yes, absolutely. So different things that I hear from my collectors. One is one of the collectors has my painting in their altar, which was very gratifying. And it's so precious for her. She doesn't even bring it out. And she doesn't even call it my painting. She calls it her painting. So it's her painting. It's not my painting. It's not something, it's hers. So that was very gratifying to hear. And one other person was saying that she kept the painting out, and she had kept it inside for a long time, and suddenly felt that, why is it inside? So I have to keep it outside. And it is an owl, and the eyes just speak to her. She says, every day I look at it, I feel there's something to me, some message to me. And there are transformations that are happening in my life just by looking at that painting. It could be about, so much of abundance, the shifts, the transformation that she's had. It's just amazing to hear all that, something that you see and experience, and you're just still watching, and there is a communication that happens between the painting and the collector, and therefore they go back to their world of work, or whatever they do. They're seeing shifts. Either they're being very present, or they're attracting the abundance that they want. So many different things that happen for them, which is extremely beautiful to hear. And of course, the value that it creates is completely priceless. Again, a lot of people, collectors, do tell me that, it creates value for me. And I wouldn't even think for a minute, when you see this painting, I will just buy it like that, is what I hear. So it's just very gratifying.
Very gratifying. And that calls for me to share my story of how I acquired this beautiful crow medicine. So for all your listeners, like, basically what happened was I was in search. And the way it happened, it's just so magical. Crow is magic. Like, if you don't know, like, crow is absolutely magic. And Charu and I were speaking, and I was asking for, I was like, I need something with crow medicine, because crow medicine represents a very important guide for me. Like, I don't want to mention the guide's name here, because the guide is not in physical form at this point. And I was looking for something to represent that particular guide, because that guide is connected with crow medicine. And I was telling Charu, I'm looking for that. Can you make one for me? And she's like, I already made one. and you know that guide. And so you're like,
Yes.
I already made one with that guide present in
Yes.
as it was happening. And
Yes.
I was like, I want it. I didn't ask you how much it was. I was like, I need it. Please get it to me. And that was it.
So it was so magical that, when I created it, like you said, I had this guide in mind, and he talks about seeing and the difference between seeing and looking. And this whole idea came up when I was sitting in the terrace and I'm seeing all these crows. And I said, okay, now I'm reading this about this guide. And I said, I have to represent this somehow. And this idea just came to me that, okay, this is how he would have wanted people to see. Seeing is going beyond the look, really seeing within quotes. So I wanted to put, and in your painting, there are 5 birds. All are looking at the viewer at the same time, but all are at different directions. So it just happened like that. It's not like I gave it a lot of thought. I planned, nothing. It just like went with the flow. Come to think of it, I didn't give it so much thought, like, okay, this face. I just went with, okay, these are the things that I want to represent. It has to be about the eye looking at the viewer, but really represent seeing.
Right,
That's
and
what
I didn't know any of this information, and I was telling you I want something which
Exactly.
represents seeing. Because you
Yes.
know what? I'm just getting the message to just share. The name of the guide is Don Juan from the Carlos Castaneda books on
Yes.
Journey to
Yes.
Ixtlan and the Yaqui's Guide. What was the name of that
The
first?
power of silence, the Yaqui way of living.
The Yaqui Way of Living. So it's Don Juan from Carlos Castaneda. If you haven't read any of those books are worth reading, because again, it's all about the metaphysical, but also known ordinary reality. And I was telling you specifically, I want something that see with the word seeing, and you're like, oh my God, like I already created it. I had no idea. The synchronicity of all of that was just so magical. But that's what happens. And we were both just in the present moment. It was actually a session. We were having a session. Like, it was not even about me. And I don't know why this came up. And I was sharing with you. And it just, the flow was just so beautiful. And so much creation happened from that place.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
And right now it is gone for framing. And you were so generous to also gift me an owl.
Yes.
And again, you don't know the synchronicity of that. Before that painting came, there was an owl sitting on my tree.
Yes.
And then I shared with you.
Yes, every time you shared about the owl, I was thinking, oh, you have to see the painting. I was waiting for you to see the painting. And it's like you opened it, it's there. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. It was right outside my window. And again, owls are very, very special to me because of wisdom and what they're giving. Amazing how much synchronicity happens in our life and how much we miss it if we're not paying attention. Absolutely. And attention comes with present moment. And that's what you're sharing, Charu, like be in the present, because that's where the flow happens.
Absolutely. I agree. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
It's amazing.
And so I also want to highlight a couple more things about you. Like you make your own paintings, but you work with the collector. If they feel in tune with certain animals, then you specifically create that, right?
Yes.
Share a little bit more.
Yes. So the process that I adopt is I typically ask them a few questions around what's the connection that they feel, and help them draw out the animal medicine that they feel most connected to. And also to say, okay, what would they see every day in a painting, and what value would it create? Some of these questions really help them drill down to what would they like to see, and what's the kind of animal medicine that would guide them every day. So that process helps them really drill down to say, okay, this is what I want to see, and what would it mean for them to see a painting of their own spirit animal on the wall. So I think that's how I lead my conversations and help them come up with the animal or this bird spirit medicine that I would like to create for them. So that's how the process works. Yes.
I love that. And so if anybody is new to spirit animals, You can look up there's animal medicine card decks you can get on Amazon. You can just look those things up. I can maybe link it in the show notes. But that's a great way to see, because we all have certain spirit animals that walk with us through our entire lifetime, right? Like they
Correct.
are our lifetime animals that
Correct.
are here to guide us. And
Correct.
what is yours? I'm curious.
I believe it's the crow, because crow is something I feel very drawn to, and I've been painting a lot of crows. But this year it has been like, and it's there's no I mean it's a synchronous thing. I got a commission to do an eagle, and this year it has been the eagle for this year, and it's just amazing how it all came together, and the way every painting has some kind of synchronicity, not only for me, also for the collector. It's just amazing. It's just
It's
amazing.
amazing. This year, my animal medicine. So every year, guys, like if you aren't doing it, it is so helpful to do it, because every year I pick an animal medicine for the year. And this year it is swan medicine.
Wow.
Swan is just so powerful because it's asking you to step into the void with complete surrender and be open to whatever is happening. And every time, and this already, as when you're recording this, it's only like end of the month of January, but it's like been crazy growth. Like it's just exponential. And every time I'm like, oh my God, can I handle this? Can I handle this? I'm remembering swan medicine. This is how I use it. And this is how I use the crow medicine. So beautiful thing about crow, again, crow is so dear to me, but my son, who's 9 years old, 9, is a very interesting number, very important number. His animal
Yes.
medicine for the year is crow. So again, like there's so much synchronicities.
Absolutely. And crow is magic.
Totally.
And magic and mystery, and I feel so connected, and I believe they are the ones that guide. And especially I felt such a strong connection to Don Juan's books and his story, and I think that's also something that tells me there is that connection as well.
Yeah. Oh, full on body chills. Now, I have to talk about the peacock behind you.
Yes.
Tell us more about that beautiful, oh my God, like that. Oh,
Yes. I've always been wanting to paint peacock, and peacock represents a lot of heart opening. A lot of us close our hearts because of certain experiences, but heart opening is about really opening ourselves to new things, new ways of feeling things. And I didn't feel it so deeply until I saw them. And I've seen a lot of peacocks, but this was very different because this was during my own spiritual journey. And I had visited this forest hill station. There's so many of them, and I've always been inspired. Now this was just like a trigger to say, okay, now get started. And I was so inspired. I came back and said, okay, I have to have this kind of a combination. And I wanted to share that story as well, of how the collector found me. And the collector already existed before I even started the painting. That was the magic of it. So the collector was someone who collects stuff which are in this combination of blue, green, and pink. This is the combination, and she has at least different kinds. So she has the peacock feather at home. She has glass arrangements which are in this combination of colors. And she was actually planning to buy a painting of the pink color, which is the background of the peacock painting. And when she saw my painting, it was instant. She didn't even ask me how much it was. She just said she will just buy it. So it was instant. So it was like magic. I was thinking the collector already exists. I didn't even create that painting. She already exists. It was so amazing to hear that, and and say that, okay, she just didn't even blink. She said, okay, I will just buy this, because this is exactly the combination of that she imagined that she would hang on her wall. So I was quite excited. And in terms of creation, it was like in the last couple of weeks of December is when I really picked up speed and said, okay, now I have to finish this and put it up. Till then, I was trying to figure out what is the background, what to do. Right in the beginning of this year, I had put it up, and she came and said, "No, it's something that I feel should be on my wall, and I would love to see that on my wall." So that's the story.
I cannot stop looking at it. It's like my eyes keep going there and I keep like staring at it. It's so beautiful. The intricacies of it are just amazing, amazing. So Charu, I'm going to digress just a little bit, not digress. I'm going to change a little bit course of where we're heading, because I think this would be very useful for people. You followed your passion. And I know it's not an easy path, right? Because especially coming from similar Indian background and like where the pressure is like you need to have you just addressed that a little bit in the beginning. But to do this, you really had to be like, no, I am doing this no matter what. So what gave you, what did you have to work on with yourself to allow you to just pursue your passion?
I feel I should give credit to family here, because while I was very determined, the family was extremely supportive. And my workplace too, they were very supportive. And I should give them a lot of credit, because at that time that I was in, I did feel the need for that support, because, to pursue something like this. And also, I also made an investment in, having a studio space. That was completely unheard of, to have that, especially when I have a day job, to really invest time and create a studio space is not something that, nobody would have done that. It's not something you hear very often. So having said that, I would think that there was a lot of support, but at no point did I feel it was impossible. At no point did I feel that, okay, should I even do it? It was just like part of me. I've always felt that this is something I needed to do, because I used to think about it all the time. Like to the point that, when I started really started, becoming more serious about art, everything looked like a painting to me. Even a small thing, and how I used to paint it. Do I paint this? How will it look? So it used to be that obsessive at that time. And especially when I'm out in the nature, it was like, okay, I can paint this way. I can use this color, use that. But now I feel it's just part of me. It's just who I am. Like, it just comes very, 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 it's in a flow. I'm just completely in a flow. So I would say what made me choose this, it's completely, I just feel it couldn't have been anything else. Couldn't have been anything else. That's how I feel.
It's almost like you cannot ignore it anymore. It's like, I have to do this.
Yeah.
Like, it's like breathing. It's like that. It's like
exactly
second nature. It's amazing, Charu, amazing. So what guidance would you give for any budding artists or anybody who's like just wanting to pursue their passion?
The first one I would definitely say, and I got stuck in that, was wanting validation. Initially, I used to do that a lot. Like I used to paint. I used to send it to a few people and ask them what they feel. It used to be even my husband, my mother, and few others. And that validation was important for me. And then when I put it up on social media, again, that validation was important for me. Now, I'm being 100% honest. It is not important. It's about the impact I want to create. It's not about the validation. So it's
truth bomb right there. Like if anybody has to take one thing from this, like this is it.
Yeah.
Stop looking for external validation. Like that's a super, super amazing one, Charu. Thank you for sharing that.
And I wanted to share this example. A few weeks back, one of my dear cousins shared this beautiful artwork, and she felt the need to ask me, what do I think of her work? And it was really something very beautiful. And I told her, honestly, you should not be asking me. It's your own pure creation. Why do you think you need validation? Why can't you just be happy? It's your soul's expression. So when you're expressing from your soul, it just doesn't matter. Your soul will guide you to progress the way you want to progress. it doesn't matter. You may be, again, artists are artists. There's no beginner, middle, professional. All that is, labels which are created by, formal organizations. It's about your expression. Of course, there is that whole element of how do I then monetize it? That will come naturally, but just create with completely from your soul, it and work on yourself. And another thing I want to add, being an artist, one, that's the skill part. That's the whole journey of, and I think I did a lot of personal transformation work, which helped me also create. I think that's a very, very, very important piece here. Really working on all my limiting beliefs. And I'm working with you as well in terms of that. So I feel that the last 3 months have been tremendous working with you. And I wanted to share that also because I strongly believe anything that we want to pursue, anything which we feel aligned to is really, you can really create that impact once you work on yourself. The self is the most important thing that you need to work on. And like, a lot of you might know, a lot of listeners might know, the most important relationship that we have is with us only. So once we fix that, things start falling in place so beautifully. I can't even, begin to tell you how beautifully it gets fixed. But that's a journey. It's not like, it started 2 years back for me. It's a journey. I'm still learning. But where I was 2 years from now, it's like a big, like giant leap. And I can see how things come to you, happen for you, and abundance just finds you, literally finds you when you work on it.
You're in alignment with with yourself. You're doing the work. It's not always a walk in the park.
Yes.
You've gone through so many ups and downs in this last couple of years, and you stayed the course. And that's also allowed you to not seek external validation. It's like,
exactly.
Okay, I'm going to do it because I want to do it.
Yes.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's just so beautiful, Charu. I love how we're talking about spirit animals and how animal medicine is always guiding you to the next level, right? And it starts with all this, like it's a journey, right? Like you didn't start from there, and you started with like, finding your own, meandering your own path and like coming to this place, but it required a lot of internal work. And that's what you were saying, like this is how people can start, like doing internal work, following their passion and not seeking validation. And that's when you really see the magic unfold in your own life.
Absolutely. I think the inner work is absolutely magical. Once you see the power of it and see how transitions happen and how things just happen so beautifully after that, it's magic. It's magic. So I would highly recommend everyone to, discover themselves, see what their soul wants and live in alignment. And for that inner work is very, very critical. I know I'm saying critical, but it just is, it's magic, actually. I would say it's magic.
Totally, very much. And I know that you talk about spirit animals, you talk about how animal medicine can help you and all that with your people, right? So how can people find you? How can they get information about things like this?
Okay. One is I am on Instagram and on Facebook. On Facebook, it's very easy to find me. I'm just Charulatha. On Instagram, Charulatha Sridhar. I have a website, charulathas.art. That's where you can sign up for my email newsletter. I do send all my latest work. You get a preview of my work before it gets launched on social media.
And then you're selling it like hot cakes. So yes.
Yes, absolutely. And now, the last few work, it hasn't even gone to the social media, and it's already gone. So you can find me on my website, and I do intend to share a lot about spirit animals. You can sign up for my email newsletter, and I will share a short video webinar on the spirit animals as well. So how to identify your animal totem, what does connecting with your spirit animal means the connection. I think that's what I would, because that's what I felt when I actually paint, the connection. That's what I would love to share that. And if you want to, if anyone is curious amongst the listener, they can sign up for that newsletter. Yes.
Well, I highly recommend that whoever's listening, please sign up to at least get on Charu's newsletter. So charulathas.art.
Yes.
Right? Is that's your website, right?
Yes.
charulathas.art. That's it?
Yes. Yeah, that's it.
ART.
Yes.
Right? Yes, and I'll link it in the bio as well, because it's really important. Like if you are serious about your own personal growth and you want to increase abundance in your life, and you want to live in a place of alignment and just in the sense of presence, like just understanding, even just starting the process of understanding how animal medicine can support you, right? And that's what you teach as well. So I highly recommend get on her newsletter so you can get information about things like that and understand how can animals support you. And we see animals all the time. Like you said, you walk outside, you see a dog, or you might see cows, or you may see birds, I'm always seeing birds around.
Yes.
And they're always speaking to me. When we open our eyes and see that, it's really going to exponentially create some expansion for you. So please get on her newsletter and get more information about that. And if you are wanting to take a step further, then sign up to work with Charu and create your own spirit animal guide that is yours. That animal usually gets assigned to us when we're born. And that, if you have that in your home, like, wow. So
yes.
How can they find you, Charu? Just DM you on Instagram?
DM me on Instagram or on the emails, as well as on Facebook. They just have to DM me on that, and I would love to connect with them and help them create their own unique energy, spirit, animal artwork. So that's something I feel very passionate about and very connected about. And it feels like there is a part of my soul that goes there, and that creates so much energy in my collector's place. And it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful.
What's your email address that they can find you?
charulathas@gmail.com.
Charulatha,
CHARULATHAS@gmail.com.
Perfect. Great. I'll link everything in the show notes.
Yes.
Can't wait for people to find you and work with you, because it's priceless.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Charu. Thank you so much
for being with us
today.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Padma. It's a pleasure. Love being here. And thank you everyone for listening. And thank you. Thank you.